And here's a look again at the radar. These are some of the big thunderstorms that we saw blowing through the area earlier this afternoon. They were all tracking from the northwest to the southeast, and they were big lightning producers and heavy rain producers, which is typical for the summertime. But now that we have lost the daytime heating, they have faded away, but more will be on the way tomorrow. Here's a look again at some of the rainfall totals, and the reason I'm showing you this again is just to illustrate how these summer storms work. Some of you don't see a drop, others of you see a little bit of rain, and others of you see a ton of rain. In fact, in North Baldwin County, again, you picked up almost 1.5 inches, and then we saw almost 2 inches of rain right around Lillian and Alberta, and then only 0.3 of an inch of rain around Point Clear, almost 2 inches between Atmore and Bruton in the southern tier of Escambia County, Alabama. But places like West Mobile, the bulk of George, Greene, and Jackson counties, even Saraland, Satsuma, just not seeing that much in the way of rain or thunderstorms. Tomorrow, the chance of rain will be a little higher. We're increasing it from 30% up to 40%. Now, here's a view in the tropics where things are still calm and quiet. No tropical disturbances to be frightened of or having to track anywhere in the Atlantic, the Caribbean, or the Gulf of Mexico. And thankfully, according to the Hurricane Center office in Miami, it does not look like tropical storm formation will be heading this way or any direction in the Atlantic, Caribbean, or Gulf over the next 5 days. Temperature right now in Mobile is 81. Same for Pascagoula, Dauphin Island, and Daphne. Very warm with a temperature right now of 86. Zooming in a little tighter toward the southwest quadrant of the viewing area. Dawes, you're at 81. Middle Bay Light is coming in at 86, but cooler around Fairhope. Temperature 79 degrees, 7 degrees cooler than it is up in Daphne. And some of that rain-cooled air is part of the reason that the temperature there is a little bit lower. Temperatures are in the lower 80s up and down State Highway 59 from exit 44 off I-10 in Loxley all the way down to Gulf Shores, coming in with a temperature of 82. And we're also seeing 82 degrees around places like Pensacola and 78 degrees over at NAS Pensacola. Temperature for tomorrow is expecting to be in the lower 90s and upper 80s depending on where you live. Mobile, your projected high tomorrow about 92. Citronelle 89. Theodore 90. Same for Daphne. Gulf Shores, you'll max out at about 86. We're expecting typical summertime weather tomorrow. Scattered showers and storms with a 40% chance of rain. Farther inland, same scenario. Now, Thomasville, it looks like your temperature might be just a couple of degrees cooler depending on how much rain you get, but the high for you projected to be 89. Lower 90s from Chatham, Jackson, Monroeville, Evergreen, and over into Atmore. Going south towards the Florida Panhandle, temperatures will be in the same zone. Upper 80s, lower 90s, just depends on where you live, and there will be another batch of afternoon storms, and the weather pattern will be hot. Those of you around Mississippi, haven't forgotten about you. Your temperature tomorrow will be in the lower 90s, upper 80s along the coast in places like Pascagoula and Ocean Springs. Now, this is the Futurecast model starting tonight and running all the way over the next 17 hours into the bulk of the day tomorrow. Certainly, the radar does not look like this right now, so we're throwing the evening forecast that the Futurecast is spitting out of the picture. Things are going to be calm and quiet tonight, but watch what happens on the clock as we roll forward into Sunday. It looks like we will start to see shower and thunderstorm formation really kick in here by midday tomorrow, and we could see some pockets of strong storms by 1 o'clock in the afternoon just to the west of Pensacola up and down US 90. And this is a high-resolution model, so it certainly takes into account different types of summer weather patterns that we see here on the Gulf Coast, and chances are that might end up being accurate. But by the time we hit late afternoon and early evening, same scenario will take place. Most of the storms will begin to fade away. So for tonight, we're going with a dry forecast. A quiet evening, partly cloudy with lows between 70 and 74. Winds will be out of the west at about 4 to 8 miles per hour. But here's what we're expecting tomorrow. Another batch of the same scenario with a high of around 92. A few scattered thunderstorms in the forecast and a southeast wind at 8 to 12 miles an hour. So don't be surprised if the sky starts off partly cloudy and then you start to see a couple of lightning strikes in the sky. It does not take much in the afternoon to see these storms flare up. And here's what we're expecting over the next 4 days. Chances of rain and storms in the 30 to 40% range. Highs each day in the lower 90s. Lows each night in the lower 70s. And we see the same scenario through the week ahead. But remember, Sunday is certainly part of the weekend. That's when a lot of you are going to be heading out to the Gulf Coast beaches. And it does look like that's something that a lot of you are going to be interested in. The beach forecast as we head in for tomorrow looks very typical to what we have seen over the past several days. 89 at the beaches. with a scattered thunderstorm threat. The rain chance will be 40%. Yellow flags will be flying, so moderate risk for rip currents. Water temperature will be about 86 degrees, and that wave height will be at 1 to 2 feet. So all in all, not bad, but typical summertime weather for us all through next week and even into the beginning of next weekend. Candace?